Let's rock. Terminated. Groovy. Come get some.
Hello and welcome to the Retro Breeze Onion OS Ports Collection series. In this video, you're going to learn how to install the Duke Nukem 3D collection on your miyoomini or miyoomini Plus. Before I start, I do want to apologize that this video took so long to get out. To be honest, I've been swamped with both work and video creation, so it's taken a while, but hopefully the series is back on track now. By the way, the next one in the series is going to be Exhumed or Power Slave, so look forward to that. This time though, it's all about the king, Duke Nukem himself. And in this guide you'll set up Duke Nukem 3D and the following expansions. Duke Carribean, Life's a, well, you know, nuclear winter, Duke It Out in DC, and DukeZone II. I do want to say that in testing this process in these games, I did come across some bugginess with the games crashing or sometimes not launching, so let me know if you have any issues with this process in the comment box below. Before we get to installing these games in particular though, it's time to go over the usual Onion OS Ports Collection prerequisites. You might have seen the following video in my previous Onion OS Ports Collection series videos, so you can skip it using the timestamps if you want to. However, do make sure that you've updated your ports collection to the latest version if you haven't done it for a while, because it does get updates. The first prerequisite that you'll need to take care of is to make sure that you have Onion OS installed on your device. For the original miyoomini, you'll want to be on at least Onion OS 4.1, and for the miyoomini Plus, you'll need to be on at least version 4.2. Once you have Onion OS installed, you'll want to activate the ports system. First go into Games and check that it's not already active. It will appear as an icon labeled Ports. If it's not there, go into Apps, then the Package Manager, and scroll down the list until you see Ports Collection. Enable that and the port system will now show in the Game section. Next we'll want to add the prerequisite files for the port. The ports collection is a separate project from Onion OS that needs to be downloaded independently. I've left a link to the GitHub page in the description box below. So go ahead and browse to that page, and click the latest release under the Releases section on the right. At this point you have two options. If you have enough room on your SD card, I recommend clicking the Onion Ports Collection version number .7z file. This will download all the prerequisite files you need to run every single port on the miyoomini, including all of the tutorials I'm making in this series. But if you've got a smaller SD card or you don't have room, you can click the individual game for the list to download an archive that only has the files for that game. Either way, you'll need to unzip the archive using 7-zip or similar, after which you'll have a folder named ROMs. Simply drag that ROMs folder onto the root of your SD card, overwriting and merging when prompted. And don't worry, this won't overwrite any of your game saves or anything like that. And the last thing to do is to make sure that you have file name extensions visible in your file browser. And with all that taken care of, you're ready to continue the tutorial. Now I always like to go over how to acquire these games legitimately, but with Duke Nukem 3D it's a little strange. What you essentially need is Duke Nukem 3D Atomic Edition. But that edition of the game has been delisted from many platforms. And thankfully there is a place out there where you can still legitimately buy Duke Nukem 3D Atomic Edition, and it's called Zoom Platform. Now I had personally not heard of Zoom Platform before making this video and trying to find Atomic Edition, but they're a legitimate place to buy video games DRM free and especially old games. So you can get stuff like all the Duke games, Bad Rats, and your mom's postal box, so you know, quality stuff. The point is though is that Duke Nukem Atomic Edition is still available to buy DRM free from this website, so that's what I recommend doing if you don't own the game already. And I'll just reiterate that if you buy Duke Nukem 3D on Steam or GOG, you will not get all the content that you need to play the game and its expansions on the miyoomini and miyoomini Plus. So do consider buying the game on Zoom Platform if you need to. But note, if you already own Duke Nukem 3D Atomic Edition from a past release or a physical edition, you can just use that. But for now, Zoom Platform is the only place to legitimately buy the full definitive edition of Duke Nukem 3D, and I think that's worth supporting personally. Anyway, if you purchase the game on Zoom Platform, you can highlight your username in the top right of the screen and click Library to be taken to your game library. Click on the game and you'll be presented with a link of downloads. Firstly, under the Installers section, you'll see a download link for the main installer for the game, so go ahead and click that to download it. Then scroll down to the DLC section. You want to download the Duke Nukem 3D DLC Pack English Setup 1.7.3.exe file. Under the MISC section, you can also download the Duke Nukem SMS Ringtones 1.0.zip file. It's not relevant to this tutorial, but it is awesome.
What are you waiting for? Christmas?
Anyway, install those 3 exe files you just downloaded, starting with the main game. By the way, if you double click one of these files and it asks you to unzip it, that probably means that you downloaded the .tar.exe version instead of the exe, so just make sure you grab the right file. Okay, now that you have the game installed from whichever source you got it from, we're now ready to copy the relevant files over to your miyoomini or miyoomini Plus. First, insert your OnionOS SD card into your computer. Then browse to ROMs, Ports, Games, Duke Nukem 3D eDuke32. Inside this folder you can open the required _files.txt file, and that will tell you exactly which files you need. But it will also list files that are created after the game runs in some cases. So we'll go over everything you need right now. Open the installation directory for Duke Nukem 3D on your computer. If you installed the Zoom Platform version, it's probably going to be under C, Zoom Platform, Gearbox Publishing, then Duke Nukem 3D Atomic Edition. Start by copying the duke.rts and duke3d.grp files over to your SD card. Those are the files you need to play the main game. Now open the add-ons folder and start by copying the dukedc.grp file. That's the file for the Duke It Out in DC expansion. Next, copy over nwinter.grp, which is the file needed for the Nuclear Winter expansion. Next, copy over vacation.grp, which is the file needed for the controversial Duke Carribean. Now on your miyoomini SD card, create a new folder in that Duke Nukem folder called DZ2PP, all in uppercase. Open that folder and copy over the following files from your Duke Nukem installation: duke!zon.grp and dz-game.con. Back out of the add-ons folder, back into the main Duke 3D folder, and copy over game.con and user.con. And finally, defs.con. And that should be absolutely everything you need to play Duke Nukem 3D and all its expansions on your miyoomini or miyoomini Plus. Eject your SD card and reinsert it into your miyoomini, then open Games, Ports, and press the A button on the Import Ports entry. You should now see the Duke 3D collection show up in the list. Open the collection, select the game that you want to play, and boom, there you have it. Duke 3D and its expansions are now installed. They should all just boot up fine. But like I said earlier, I have noticed some bugginess and crashing occasionally in some of the expansions, so just let me know if you have any issues and I'll do my best to assist you in the comments. All the Duke games and their expansions control in the same way. Use the D-pad to move and turn, L1 and R1 to strafe, Start to turn 180 degrees, B to jump, A to crouch or stand up, Y to shoot, X to open doors and interact, R2 to use a melee attack, and L2 to change weapons. Select is your modifier key. While holding select, you can use X to aim up, B to aim down, and Y to return your view to the center. You can use up and down to scroll through your available items, and L2 to use the currently selected item. Press L1 to toggle between the different types of map. I'm not sure if holding select and pressing R1 does anything, but if you find out, let us know in the comment box below. Press the menu button to open the menu, and while you're in the menu, press start to go forward and menu to go back. The last thing I'll mention here is that I haven't figured out how to change the volume while you're in game, because using the volume keys changes the brightness and brings up the terminal. So instead, to adjust the volume, just go into the menu, options, sound options, and change it in there. And that's about it for this one. 5 more excellent ports for your miyoomini or miyoomini Plus running OnionOS. If you like this video and series, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more. There are more port collection tutorials coming up and other exciting content too. Please leave a comment on this video as well telling me which Duke Nukem game is your favorite. I've played a little bit of these games, but I was kind of a kid when they were out and popular, so of course I wasn't allowed to play them back then. But I definitely think that they're an interesting look back into the history of video games, and a heck of a lot of fun to play as well. And with that, this has been Shem from Retro Breeze, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.